And now for the Rude Boys rant.
Boys, yes, we back upon the scene and ting. This is the Dirty Immigrant.
This is Scotland.
Another cold day out there, brother.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
That wind is just
Killing.
It
I got to walk into it too.
I had to walk into it to come over here,
Yeah.
and I swear it was trying to blow out one of my contacts. At one point, I just felt something real funny in my eye, and I'm trying to blink. I was like, "Oh, don't lose that! Don't!"
Yeah.
I'm trying to cover my eye back up. I'm like,
Dude,
"Man, don't lose that."
I'm wearing about 8 layers, man. And I'm prepared. I'm gonna say it in a country style. I'm prepared.
I'm just glad that we were supposed to go play doubleheader softball in Morehead State today.
Yeah.
I'm so glad they called that yesterday because of the cold. And I know some people might say, "Hey, man, they play football in whatever temperatures." Yeah, but first of all, in cold temperatures, you can break your bats.
Yeah.
Since like
And these are small schools, it's not big schools that could go buy 20 bats.
Well, but even the big schools don't want to go do that
Yeah.
either because they don't want to be breaking their bats. And then plus, also in football, you don't have this very hard projectile that
Yeah.
might come flying at you at 100 miles an hour off of a
Yeah.
bat.
I know.
So they can break your hand and whatever, and so even break your hand inside your glove,
Yeah.
depending on how cold you are.
Yeah.
So
This is not a wimpy football sport.
Oh man,
This is real women out there battling.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm glad they called it yesterday, so that way there wasn't anything hanging around this morning. Going, well, maybe we will, maybe we won't.
Yeah.
I'm glad they went ahead and took care of it yesterday.
Yeah.
And now, anyway, we got to leave tomorrow morning to go to Fairfax, go to
What time
George
you all
Mason,
leaving?
about 10 o'clock.
All right.
So, and won't be back till Sunday night. 5 more games this weekend. 5 more
Yes,
games. I
aye.
get to be back on the air calling games again.
All
So.
right. So, y'all, they say this is going to air after.
Well, it doesn't
But,
matter. I call the road game. So
Yeah.
when Marshall softball's on the road, that's me. I may occasionally do a home game just depending on how many people they have available. But
Yeah.
I know I do the road games. So
Yeah, no. You want to hear all this stuff there and all this stuff? Go to our Rude Boys page and like it. You know what I mean? And soon we're going to have a website coming up, maybe around the 10th. But the Rude Boys is the Rude Boys, RUDEBUOYZ. And that's the Rude Boys Facebook page going
for
there.
some of
and
you
then,
Americans, maybe you
yeah.
got to think of it as Rudabuoys.
Yeah, Rude Boys, you know what I mean? But it's boys.
Yeah.
Now, let's get on to the topic of the day here.
All
Topic
right.
of the day here is immigration. You know what I mean? The immigrant, the Dirty Immigrant is going to talk about immigration.
Mhm.
How did I get the name the Dirty Immigrant? Because I've been called that several times by opponents of immigration. They say they're opponents of illegal immigrants, but they're actually opponents of immigration, period. Because they think people taking stuff from them. Now, I'm going to give you just a little...
Meanwhile, you have obviously that unless they are Native American descent,
Yeah.
100% Native American descent, and that means that their families, their ancestors, immigrated over here at
But
some
here's
point.
the thing. The Indians are saying, or the Native Americans are saying, don't call them immigrants. They're invaders.
Hey,
I saw that on the Native American side. We are offended. The immigrants should be offended that you're calling them immigrants because they invaded. They came and they took by force.
yeah, they really did. So there you go.
But now here's of legal immigrants. Here's a little bit of information. Immigrants amongst the 15% of the American population, which is like about 11 million. And there's 350 million or so.
I know
people,
it's at least
give or
got to be
take.
around 300. So yeah.
So yeah, I think I saw something that says 325, 350 million when I was doing the research.
Man,
Now,
that's,
the
that's a lot
fastest-
of people.
Guess what the fastest growing groups of immigration, where are they coming from?
Where?
Asia.
Really?
China is fast catching up with the Mexicans.
Mm.
Indians are fast catching up with the Chinese. It seems like the Indians are right behind the Chinese on everything. Economy, everything. They're just right there stepping up. But if you notice, the most immigration, the pickup of immigration is coming from countries that are highly overpopulated. So overpopulation is making people spill over too. You know what I mean?
And that's what, honestly, it's going to sound funny to say overpopulation, 300 or 400 years ago, but a lot of it then was, man, I'm not really having any opportunities here. Maybe I can find opportunities over there. And so that's kind of how it went.
Yeah. Now, more than a quarter of the foreign population are made up of Mexicans. Now we know the craze about there's so many of them, I guess, in their eyes. But, they're easy to spot. It's kind of like me. I'm 7'1". They're on a shorter...
see, this is what you and I talk about all the time. When you always say you're amazed that nobody can pick me out for being on the show. And you say I don't describe myself enough. Look, I'm a 6-foot white guy in West Virginia. Yeah, you're really going to be able to spot me. But yes, 7'1", and then obviously when they hear the accent as well, they go, "It's you." So
it's that damn immigrant.
A little bit more easily spotted than I am.
Let me see here. It says that 5 million of the foreign-born residents of America is at or above the poverty level. So out of 11 million, 5 million are doing decently. The rest are, what I mean? And that's the legal immigrant. And this is from the Migration Policy Institute that came from. The first two that are the fastest growing immigrant that came from U.S. News Today. Okay. Now, as far as illegal immigrants are concerned, now here are the benefits of illegal immigrants. Okay, they increase the size of the economy. They contribute to economic growth, enhance the welfare of native, contribute more in taxes, in tax revenue than they collect. See, if you're illegal but you have a social security number and you go get a job, you'll be paying taxes. But you're not legal.
As long as you are getting what is considered a legal paycheck, like the company that you're working for is actually handing you a paycheck, yes, you are paying taxes.
And
I think what everybody's thinking is going on is that, you did a job, here's $100. Like they're just handing you
not the ones
money.
with the fake social security numbers. And even if they use social security numbers of dead people, wouldn't that money be unaccounted for that they're paying into taxes? It's coming in. But the government have to know it's not coming from anywhere. Does that make sense?
I don't know.
So that's kind of like extra money. So where's that money going?
We already know where a lot of our taxes are going anyway when they're not supposed to be. Lining pockets of a whole bunch of other rich people. So
they also say here that the illegal immigration curb the inclination of companies to go overseas, because why go to their country and build a bunch of stuff when you can pay them on the wage?
That is true, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it sort of curb it. And let me see what else it says here. They increase the gross domestic product. And also, which is really important, immigration enforcement does not enhance or stop or affect the crime rate. Here's the myth about a lot of illegal immigrants. And before I even go any further with this, people should come here legally.
Whoa. Try that again. Take two.
People should come here legally, period. Yes. Just like I would want them to come to my country legally.
Well, and I used to work with a guy who was from Mexico when I worked back at Service Master over breaks and stuff when I went home. And he said the same thing. I said, how do you feel when you find out somebody got here illegally? So it makes me mad.
Yeah.
He said, because I came here the way you were supposed to.
Dude, my whole trek to come in here was like when I was home, got the basketball scholarship. I had to fly to a different island because we didn't have a U.S. consulate yet. I had to fly to a different island. Which is odd because that was after America invaded, but I couldn't do it in my country. I had to go to somebody else's country to go there and get
do you remember where you had to go?
Barbados.
Okay.
Bridgetown? Yeah, Bridgetown. Or is it Georgetown? I can't remember my capitals back home anymore, but it's one of them there. Nice country, man. Nice country. Nice place to go. It's a flat place. It's a sugarcane colony.
Oh, yeah?
Flat.
Okay.
Compared to my country, which is mountainous. But anyway, I had to fly there, come back, then fly to America, and people think it's just like, oh, I'm going to go to the immigration, hop, skip, skip, you know what I mean? And you say yes or they say no. But there's processes. You go in, then you have to go back, then you have to go back. And they ask you weird questions, too. When you go in there, like, they would ask what color, like, if people get married, they'll ask them what color underwear their wife is wearing. Because they're going to know, well, if he doesn't know what she's wearing, then they didn't come from the same house.
Well.
You see, for me, though, getting my visa was really easy because I walk into the consulate, and they look at me and they said, basketball scholarship, right? I was like, yeah, boom, stamped, you know what I mean, the thing. And then
you should have said, no, I'm going to be a ballerina.
To get my green card, the first we went to the immigration office, they took one look at me and they took one look at that little white girl and said, there's no way. They have to remarry for real. There is no way, that she's going to marry this monster of a man just to get the green card. We went to the offices in New York, and the lines were way down the block. You have to wait and wait.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, think about just the lines that used to be with Ellis Island.
Yeah.
In New York City. I mean, that was kind of the hub as far as people trying to come to this country, especially in the early 20th century.
Yeah. It's crazy, dude, and then you go in, they have to get a number and wait, and then you get another number and wait. And the thing about it is, you get a number and wait, and you go in there, and for me, it was like, boom, I was in and out. I'm an honest dude. They could tell coming, you know what I mean? And because I'll be honest with you, man. After I was playing college basketball, and that didn't go well, I was going to go back home. I was because it was cold. I was thinking, I was thinking it's like 10 degrees out there. I was thinking sunshine.
See, you chose, unfortunately, what is for us in this country a winter sport to play. Even though it's inside, it goes on in the winter.
You know what I mean?
You still have to walk out in that nasty weather to get into the arena to go play ball.
I'm telling you, man. But the myth. Okay, there's a myth that illegal immigrants could just walk into a government office and get whatever they want, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How could they do that without papers? And if they go in there and do it without papers, then the worker should be arrested because he or she just broke the law too.
Yeah.
So most illegal immigrants, they don't go to the doctor unless it's some doctor that they pay under the table, which a lot of them get subpar health care anyway because people are like, they're taking all our health care and they're doing this. No. Most illegal immigrants, unless they get in an accident and they have no choice, they carry them to the hospital.
Yeah, the ambulance just takes them there.
They're not going to walk in because if they walk in and they don't have papers, they get reported, they get deported. All right.
Reported and deported.
What I mean? All we're hearing is ice, baby. You know what I'm saying?
You get reported and deported.
Ice,
baby.
You know what I mean? All the way in that van, you see Vanilla Ice going, ice, baby.
Oh, my gosh. Did we just give them an idea for a commercial? Copyright? No.
Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? Come on now. Ice. Don't take our idea. Yeah. But, so they don't go to the hospitals. You know what I mean? I'll give you an example, okay? About, 4 or 5 years ago, I had to renew my green card because you have to renew it every 10 years. Man, that's $300. So imagine every year people are renewing this at $300 to millions of people. That's a lot of revenue. You know what I mean?
I mean, just like you said, what'd you say that was? 11 million legal?
Yeah.
Imagine
if they send us all back home. That's a big chunk of money the government don't get.
And we'll have to suddenly pay out a lot more in whatever it is.
You know what I mean? But that's legal immigrants. But another thing, so anyway, I went to the DMV because I needed another ID to do something. And I'm legal. I've got other people showing I'm legal. But because I didn't have that card, I didn't get the ID. I had to wait like about 2 or 3 days later when the ID actually came in to go back and get the card.
Yeah.
So if I could just walk in the DMV and kind of get a card.
Yeah.
How could they just walk into an office and go, hey, I'm hungry. Can I get an EBT card, and then they just give it to them.
Well,
They could better start investigating those workers.
Exactly. I think they make it sound like what you see a lot of times in, Hollywood again, movies and TV, where there's that kind of under the table type of person where it's like, hey, make sure you go talk to Steve over here, or make sure you go talk to Brenda, because they're the ones who will, they'll look past that. They make it seem like those people are everywhere.
You know what I mean?
And yet,
I tell you where they are. They're in Beverly Hills. Go talk to so. And then you have the rich people have them working in the kitchen for little and no money. You know what I mean? That's where the jobs are
build the
from.
Stone entrance for me outside my out by my driveway.
But okay, that is one thing. Also, there's a myth. Me and my ex-wife, we owned a business here in Huntington, and I remember we used to have these kids come up there and hang out because we had a little area back there where they could sit and stuff, and it was like college kids, the freshmen and some high school seniors. They were hanging out, and there was this Native American guy in there, and now, I am all about my Native American peeps because, I have grandparents that were like Carib Indians. But that had Carib Indian heritage in them.
Yeah, in them. Yeah.
But, so he's back there and he's like, oh yeah, all these foreigners come here, and he's purporting that even if they're illegal, they give them money to open up business, and us Native Americans, we don't get anything. So I heard him say that and I was like, hot diggity, let me go check this out. Because I have a business here. I had to go take out loans the conventional way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, well, if they're going to give me free money, I better check this out. I told my ex-wife that, I'm going to just call her Bonnie. I hate saying ex-wife. Anyway, I told Bonnie, he was like, you know what I mean? We going to get money.
Yeah.
We going to get out of debt. We going to pay off this loan that we took out for this business. Went to check nothing. Nothing, and so
burst your bubble.
No, bust my bubble, bust her bubble, and I'm about to bust his bubble back in there because that's a recurring theme back there. He keep bringing that up. So I finally said, "You do know I'm an immigrant, right? I own this business, right? Yeah. Well, I checked into that. Stop spreading rumors." He's like, I said, "Dude, I am the immigrant. I am telling you." We researched this. There's no such thing. And if it's there, they have it really hidden, and it's for a specific group of immigrants. Because it wasn't for this chocolate immigrant. But they were saying it was more for like the Indian immigrants and those from that region. But mostly you can't tell the difference between me and them. We the same color. Some of them they're a lot darker than I am.
Especially for some Americans who, it seems like they can't tell the difference between anything. Yeah. And don't even know some areas of their own country. Yeah. So, yeah.
I mean,
well, didn't you say that you used to get all the time when you worked phones? People thought that you were in India.
Yeah, you know what I mean? No, I'm not from East India. I'm not from the East Indies. I'm from the West Indies. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then they'd go, "Are you in Bombay?" I was like, no, this is not 1970. There's no such place named Bombay anymore.
Yeah, that is true. That's another one that they don't know.
These bloody immigrants, they keep changing the names of the countries just to confuse us.
That's a city too. So.
Some of them change the whole name of the country and stuff just to confuse us. What's going on, immigrants?
Well, that's the thing, Americans can't even learn the names of their own states, and those names haven't changed since the states have been formed, so they can't even learn those. And then, over on the other side of the world, it's like, well, now we're called this, and so, well, now we're this, and now we're that.
I mean, that whole Soviet bloc broke up, and it's a bunch of Stang and Stang and Stang
out of there.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. And okay, another thing too that you have to notice about.
I'll explain in a minute why I keep making fun of Americans who don't know their own states. Anyway,
but if you notice, like, whenever there's a military conflict between America and a country, a lot of immigrants come from that country. You remember Korea? I mean, New York was filled with Korean immigrants there for the longest, especially when I was there in the 80s. There was a Korean little store on every corner, maybe two, maybe three. There's a lot of Koreans coming here. Vietnamese. There was a massive influx of not as much now because Vietnam is actually doing pretty good economically wise, but there was a massive
and then in
influx.
World War II, they formed camps.
Yeah.
People don't realize that America actually formed camps and wrapped up all the Japanese they could find.
Yeah,
and put them in there. Yeah.
You know
now,
what I mean?
I will say this: they weren't.
They were lethal.
They weren't lethal in the way that obviously what the Nazis were doing.
Yeah.
But we still rounded people up because you are this type, you are that type, and we said you're going to go sit in this camp until this war's over.
I personally think most Americans really don't mind immigrants until politicians start using it as a political tool.
Yeah, and there are some who there's one I remember. My dad telling me that he talked to a guy who was basically entering early retirement and used to do a whole lot of stonework, fancy stonework, especially around where we're from in Northern Virginia. Once you get a little bit east of our county, you got a lot of rich horse farms and things like that, and so people would love to have all these fancy walls around their places, these fancy entrances to their driveway. And this is what he did. And he had been doing it for so long, and people trusted him and loved him that, okay, he's doing great, He's able to raise prices a little bit, but he's also got people working for him. He's got this business going. And he got really frustrated because immigrants started coming up there and were basically saying, we'll do the same job for half.
Well, let's qualify, not just immigrants, Mexican immigrants. Don't blame all over.
Well, no, okay. Well, I can't even really say Mexicans because I did work at a place where there were people from Mexico all throughout Central America, South America, all in this one spot. So
that was a bad joke, my Mexican brothers.
but I mean, so
and sisters.
But that goes to here are these people, instead of going with the one that they've trusted for all these years or that their friends have trusted, they've decided, we'll take you who's doing it for half. Yeah, sure. So you're the one who's then in turn putting out this American out of business. Yeah. And he said, he's like, I said, I'm basically just going to go into retirement now. He said, I didn't plan on doing that for about another 10 years. But he said, if I try and keep this business going, I'm going to go broke. Yeah. Because everybody was starting to turn towards these other people who said, we'll do that. We'll do it for half. Yeah. Or for really, really cheap and whatever. And so, it's putting this guy out of business. Yeah. And so that's where, unfortunately, you can see some other frustrations come. Yeah. And
I totally understand that because immigration is not just a problem here in America. Mm-hmm. They have it in England. I mean, they have massive immigration, especially from countries like Pakistan and India and stuff like that. I had a friend who was Pakistani living in England. He was born there, but his parents were immigrants. And man, they got terrorized. They got called Pakis. And this was back in the late 90s. Well, for him, it was the early 90s when he was living there. Okay. But I met him later on when I was here in college. And he was telling me stories about how they used to chase him down and call him Pakis and stuff, which kind of reminds me about when I first came here, getting chased down that street there and people shouting the N-word at me. This was 1986, folks. I was like, wait a minute, I thought this was just the movies. What's going on here? I'll tell you a funny story about that, real quick. Me and this friend of mine, he was the point guard on the basketball team. Mm-hmm. We were standing, and this is just a funny story. It's not have nothing to do with immigrants, but just an immigrant experience, I guess. We're standing outside on the main street, run right through the campus, right? So we're standing there, and a truckload of these natives of the hills there was driving by, and he did the Pee Wee Herman dance. I know most youngsters don't remember the Pee Wee Herman dance. Yeah. And for some reason, that made them angry. So, he did the dance, and I'm standing there. I thought it was funny because I didn't really know who Pee Wee Herman is. I thought he was just mocking them. So I'm standing there, and I turn around to talk to the dude, and he was gone. He was running. Oh, no. And as I realized he's running, I heard, and the truck stopped. You know what I mean? And next thing I know, I look back and like 2 or 3, I hate to call them rednecks, and natives jump out of the truck and they come running, boy. I think I took off. Yeah, I was in America, what? Good Lord. about 2 months. I didn't understand that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
because where I'm from, you know what I mean? But as far as illegal immigrants are concerned, there's a lot of myths about them. I mean, they don't even want to commit crimes because if they get caught, they get deported. The point of coming to... Okay, there's a lot of myths about why people come to America also. The majority of people who come to America is for economic reasons. You know, it's not. It doesn't have anything to do with war, pestilence, and lack of freedom. You know, for me, I came to America for an education. At the time, we didn't have a university in my country. So when they said basketball scholarship, free education, I wasn't going to say no.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, me. I didn't ever really like basketball. I mean, I was good at it, but I really didn't like it. I just wanted the education. You know what I mean? So you give me free education to run up and down a court.
So you did go to play school.
Huh?
Now, you did go to play school, not like some of these others who say, man, I didn't come here to play school.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's, So, you know, so here I am. And it was an economic reason. Not to mention, 3 years earlier, we had that intervention. You know, I can see me the quotation marks.
He's putting up air quotes with the intervention.
Intervention, you know what I mean?
By
so
Ronald
then,
Reagan.
you know, jobs and stuff sort of evaporated in some places. But came here for economic reasons. Doesn't mean I don't have freedom in my country. Shoot, I could sit on the side of the street and drink a bottle of beer and nobody's going to say anything. Yeah, we could stand on the side of the street and tell stories and laugh and joke. We call it hanging out on the blocks. And I know they still do it because I see a video of where they drive into the city and there's guys sitting outside on a makeshift bench, you know, playing dominoes and stuff. Kind of like down south in America here. Minus the guns and the foul language. But
you guys aren't cussing each other out in patois?
Well, yeah, you know, that happens if you're cheating or something, you know, or if you whistle at somebody's daughters. They
oh no! Watch
but,
out for
you
that.
know, and like a lot of people who come here, and even the ones who come here illegally, granted they're breaking the law. And I'll tell you a story about the law breaking stuff. But anyway, they come here to work, and you know, send money home and stuff like that, and you know, and yeah, they send money home, but they also contribute to, you know, let's look at it this way: that's undocumented money being spent here.
Yeah,
like that's kind of extra money if they go to Walmart and spend their own money that they work for. That money is not taxed or anything, but Walmart is getting it, and we all know big corporations aren't paying taxes, so they're getting free money.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously, they're going to grocery stores.
Yeah,
they'll go, even if it's just fast food. They'll go to a fast food place. I mean, 'cause, look, I worked fast food when I was in my last 2 years in high school, and I'm sure we still have, but we had at that time a very large Mexican population, as well as some others, like I said, from Central and South America in our area. And they used to come through all the time. So, you know, I mean, so obviously, yes, they're spending money. And when when they order something, the sales tax automatically gets put on there. Yeah. You know, they don't just, you know, since if they're quote illegal, they can't just say, well, you say up there on the board that my total should only be $3.99. Why am I getting charged $4.10 or you know, whatever?
That's what I did, and I was illegal. I was like, wait a minute, that thing says at $1.99. Why you charge me $2.06? Yeah, taxes.
There's a thing called taxes.
What?
Yeah. So I mean, but yeah, you get obviously politicians who try to make it sound like they're getting everything. Yeah. For free, and that people are just handing them money to go do whatever the heck they want. Like, I'm sorry, but that just can't be
even
possible.
As an American, when you step into the office to get your food stamps, you got to have this paper, that paper, and you're not getting anything. The premise is that they do that to us, but they just give the illegal immigrants stuff. No, that doesn't happen. They're supposed to report them, and if they don't, that worker should be in trouble.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing, as far as saying that. The illegal immigrants are all criminals. They're just coming here and committing crimes and filling up our jails and whatever. It's like, but how many regular people are getting arrested on a daily basis anyway? Yeah. I'm sorry, but it's not like if we suddenly were able to find every illegal immigrant in this country and send them home, that crime would just stop.
Yeah.
Because how many times do we even see where suddenly somebody gets arrested who's some big-time, CEO or whatever, and now suddenly they might be facing the next 20 years in prison. It's like, man, their parents were born here. They were born here. It's like, you want to just tell me that if we just got rid of all the illegal immigrants, that suddenly all crime is just going to stop? No.
You know what I mean? Now, let's switch gears a little bit here, you know what I mean?
Right.
That ends the first half hour of the conversation and thing, and now we're going to go into the second half. The funny part of being an immigrant in this country.
Oh, gosh. I've heard some of these stories.
You know